Hey everyone, Django Fett here, and we are back to do the awesome Mandalorian podcasts. Quite a few podcast videos to do for this year, and I am joined once again with my buddy, Captain Awesome.
Hey guys.
So I'll put links for everything for pertaining to his channel and his content in the comment section below as usual. And today we are going to be doing our top 5 movies of 2019. So, why don't you start off, Cap, with your movies that didn't quite make your list before we get to our number 5?
Okay, well, movies that basically I liked but didn't sadly make the list because they were just movies I liked more than them. I'm gonna say two. One is Midsummer, a movie that was directed by the guy who directed Hereditary. And Midsummer was a very disturbing, weird, fucked up movie, but at the same time, it was very fascinating, very symbolic, and pretty good. You know, I really enjoyed it and everything. And the other one is Godzilla King of the Monsters. Not perfect, but at the same time, it was a pretty, epic spectacle when it came to the kaiju monster battles, the music, the cinematography was great, and yeah, I really liked both of those films and everything. So they're the movies that I give shout-outs to that did not make the list. So go ahead, Django, what's your...
Mine is Godzilla as well. I wish it was my number 1, to be honest, but I felt like there was one plot hole that really kind of ruined the movie for me, but I did enjoy it, and I did have a good time. I can't wait to watch this in 4K Blu-ray, so can't wait for that. And then the second one is Zombieland Double Tap. Been waiting for this sequel for quite some time, and it was fun, and I had a really good time with that as well. Okay, so why don't we start off with our lists, our top 5 movies, starting with number 5.
My top 5, and beginning with the 5th one, would have to be Spider-Man Far From Home. The final movie of Phase 3 of the MCU. It was really cool to see, like, obviously Spider-Man going on his journey after, Avengers Endgame, the Infinity War type event, the Infinity Saga ended. Jake Gyllenhaal, as Mysterio was fantastic. Probably one of my favorite villain portrayals, actually, in a long time. A sequel that obviously, expands the Spider-Man lore while also, introducing something new at the same time. And, yeah, I liked, obviously, the cliffhanger at the end. It was a great setup for the future. There were a few things I did have a few issues with, but overall, I really enjoyed the movie, and I thought it was a very fun and exciting action-adventure movie. So that's my number 5. What about you, Django?
Okay, so my number 5 is Avengers Endgame. This is the culmination of everything that Marvel has done, and it was a very good movie. I really enjoyed my time. It was a little too long for me, but it was very interesting to see how this whole, it was like almost like a 20-year cycle of the Marvel movies ended, and hopefully the start of something brand new in the future.
My number 4 is probably one of the biggest surprises of 2019, and that is Shazam, a DC movie, the first ever solo movie for the character Shazam, originally known as Captain Marvel. When I first saw the trailer, I thought it looked funny, I thought it looked good, but at the same time, I kind of thought, oh, it's just gonna be nothing more than like a Deadpool parody or something, like whatever, when I saw the trailer and everything. But then I saw the movie, and it felt, like it had so much heart and soul, it was deep and meaningful, very relatable as a movie. And, overall, I felt like they did a great job with the Shazam family and, the world of Shazam. And just overall, it was a very satisfying, exciting movie, very funny in moments. And a few issues with the villain and the action sequences weren't really the best. But overall, the movie was great. And it kind of reminded me a bit of a Steven Spielberg movie. So, Django, what's your 4th movie?
My 4th movie is Ready or Not. This is another movie that came out of nowhere, and it's actually almost like an indie title in which this girl gets married to this guy who is part of a rich family. They do it at their house, and eventually they try to kill her. They all go around and try to kill her in this house, and it was just a phenomenal movie. Just came out of nowhere, and I didn't really think nothing of it beforehand, before the trailers, but my wife actually got me into it, and I have to thank her for that, because this movie just was a bloody good time, to be honest. So definitely worth watching. Highly recommended. Your number 3.
Okay, cool. My number 3, of course, a movie that's been talked about so much throughout 2019 is Avengers Endgame. The big climax of the Infinity Saga, as Django was rightly saying. So, a movie that is emotional, it is very satisfying, especially with the ending, and overall delivers one of the most epic final battles I think I've fucking ever seen. I do agree with the runtime. I do agree that it did drag on a little bit at the end, and obviously the movie does have a few issues. But at the same time, I really enjoyed it as a big climax to a massive saga that we've loved for over a decade. So that's my number 3. So
All right, so my number 3 is Spider-Man: Far From Home, bringing an excellent villain in Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. You know, in the beginning, you think this guy is a good guy, but, you know, as to expected, this guy ends up being Mysterio, as we know and love. So, I mean, I love the performances of Jake Gyllenhaal. I loved, you know, this movie in general and the quirkiness of it. And I think this is by far my favorite Spider-Man movie ever right now. So I can't wait for the third one, that they actually confirmed this, that it's going to be happening. So that's a good sign. And we need at least a third one. You know, 3 in the trilogy, that's the way to do it. So I really had a great time with this movie.
my number 2 is a movie that is probably another surprise of last year, but at the same time, this movie is probably one of the most talked about and controversial movies last year, and that is Joker. This movie is unpredictable, it is dark, it is grounded in reality, it is pretty emotional as well, actually, but the movie blew me away. It blew me away of how, like, you know, they made the Joker really, you know, sympathetic, really relatable, but also, you know, really explored the whole world of, like, mental illness and, you know, society and everything. And it was just, and the ending is just like, holy shit. So it's a really great movie. I really loved a lot. And also there's quite a few scenes that are left into your interpretation of what they mean. There's symbolism in certain areas. So it was a really great movie, and I loved it as a, you know, an origin story for the Joker.
Alright, so my number 2 is John Wick 3. Man, these movies always bring a lot of action and, you know, great intensity with these films that you've never, like, you think, oh, this one, you can't top this one, and then the next second movie does it, and then the third movie does it with this one. So I was just blown away by the amount of action that they did with this movie. It's still really debatable whether the second one is better or the third one is better, but I love them all. I think that's a great trilogy, but it's going to turn into a fourth one, so there's going to be a fourth one, so I can't wait for that as well. And the third one doesn't disappoint whatsoever. Great action movie.
My number 1 of the year, and I I watched this movie literally 3.5 years, but it was worth the wait. It was worth the experience. Martin Scorsese's The Irishman on Netflix. It was, oh my god, like, this movie is the definition of what I love about cinema. You know, it really goes deep into the whole deep, interesting themes of, you know, humanity, or you know, the gangster life and the mafia and everything, but also, like, you know, that whole theme of questioning, you know, a lot of his films is, was it all worth it in the end? And there's so many great performances by Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, you know, Harvey Keitel, Robert De Niro, many others. Just overall, the tension of how intense some sequences are, the cinematography is great, the music, there's the acting, monologues are incredible. Overall, just such a masterpiece, and I can't wait to watch it again. Obviously, I think I might take breaks this time because I watched it all one go, and my god, I had to go for a big piss at the end of it all. But overall, brilliant experience, and I love the movie.
Yeah, this movie just was a big surprise too, and, you know, you can't expect anything less from Martin Scorsese. The guy is a phenomenal and one of the greatest filmmakers there ever are. Every movie that he puts out is just fantastic, and The Irishman is another one that's on his list. So my number 1 is Joker. Yeah, I mean, I expected this movie to be shit. I didn't expect anything from this movie at all. But Joaquin Phoenix, the filmmakers behind Joker, just nailed it with the origin story, making me very sympathetic to Joker himself, and setting up, you know, not only Joker but the world around them with Gotham, as well as you know, with Batman as well, and how he, you know, connects with the Joker. I cannot wait to get this on Blu-ray again and watch this a second and a third time, because it's just that great of a movie. So this is definitely my number 1 movie of this year. Alright, so that's our top 5 movies of 2019. Guys, let us know your top 5 in the comments section below. Thank you so much for joining me once again, Cap.
Oh, as always, and thank you for having me on here as usual.
Yeah, 2019 was a pretty good year, and so yeah, we had a really good time as always, and we'll be sure to do some more awesome Mandalorian podcasts in the future, and we'll have a couple of others, and we'll be sure to invite some guests.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, can't wait for that. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
See you guys.
All right, see ya.